Hey guys, welcome back to A-Level Lessons. Moving on to our last part today on chapter 6 of our guide to project work. So this is going to be a wrap, right? It's going to be our conclusion, the final part of your written report. So by now you guys would have, or hopefully most of you will have seen the previous 5 parts. If you've not done so, I'll leave the link to the playlist in the description below. Click on it, go and check out the previous 5 parts, especially if you're struggling for some of them. Check it out first before you come to this part, right? We are coming to the end of the entire thing. So this is where we are going to, or at least your project should already be quite stabilized at this point in time. So let's dive right in. Alright, so a wrap conclusion. It's been a long ride. We're almost reaching the end. It is time to conclude the entire report on a good note, right? You want to end it off with a bang, you start with a bang, you end off with a bang. So this conclusion is meant to sum up the entire project in its entirety. So what went well, what went wrong, as well as what the future is looking like, right? How are we going to scale this up in the future? Is it going to be possible to actually scale it up? So the 3 main components here, we're going to be looking at strengths and limitations, our conclusion, as well as what our future outlook will be. First up, strengths and limitations. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but in general, this revolves around whether your project is actually truly feasible in today's society, and its ability to remain self-sustaining, and whether it targets a true need of society. I know we've kind of like targeted this a bit in the previous part, chapter 5, on evaluation, right? But here is just going a little more into the greater detail, right? The more tangible fields as to whether this project actually does target a need in society. So an example of writing this would be, in the long run, the formation of healthy eating habits will be beneficial to children as they'll be less prone to suffering from health-related issues such as obesity and diabetes, right? It's a real need, right? It's a true issue with rising obesity and diabetes rates, which is in line with the aims of the government to cut down on diabetes. So this shows that whatever your project has revolved around is actually in line with a true need of society, and it's reflected by the various government's efforts to actually enforce this kind of sustainable practice. Alright. The conclusion itself is just a quick summary, right, of everything. So you just sum up this entire project in a neat paragraph. So 2 main things to include will be your main project idea as well as the aim it targets, right? This is diving us back to chapter 3. But it's good for us to just come back again and, refresh your marker, tell them that, alright, this proposed solution that we have implemented with its various improvements have managed to meet the aims that we have previously suggested. Alright? So you guys do conclusions all the time. This should be easy. It's no different from a conclusion in your GP paper, your English paper, your Geog, Econs, whatever other paper you have. Alright? It's just a very, very standard conclusion. Alright, the future outlook is something that some students would tend to omit, right? Some schools don't really want to include this part. It's up to you as well, whether you see a need for a future in this project. So this is optional, right? But it can be of value to include depending on the type of project your group has worked on, right? So the future outlook looks to deciding how the project will be integrated with real-world organizations and programs, right? So for example, like the Singapore, maybe potentially like the Live Healthy or Live 365 app, right? It could be something that is in line with whatever the aims of your project, or maybe say enforcing a reduction in, let's say, sodium, right? Or maybe a reduction in sugary foods, right? To help to enforce or enhance healthier lifestyles across Singaporeans, right? Could actually be in line with what the government actually has in store for the country as well, right? So this could be a future outlook as to how you may potentially merge with the aims of the government, or potentially other corporations as well. So just provide a brief idea on how this project will look like 5 to 10 years down the road. So for example, in the future, a few years down the road, we hope to ensure that this project would be targeted on a nationwide scale across all age groups, so on and so forth. It's just a very, very standard way of writing a long-term future outlook of your project. So that's all. Actually, it's quite a simple chapter. So what it will look like will be something like this: just your strengths, your limitations, the conclusion, as well as your future outlook. Right, a very, very simple chapter, and I think a very, very short video to wrap up this entire series on a guide to project work. Hope you guys have enjoyed and learned something from this series. Likewise, if you did, be sure to give this video a like as well as to subscribe to the channel and let your friends know about this project work series as well in the event that any of their WRs are on a borderline, unsure of can pass or cannot pass kind. And if you guys have questions or you have ideas, right, on PW related stuff, you can always suggest them to me and I'll work on the various materials and resources for those as well. If not, in the meantime, you guys can always feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. We do math, GP, Geog, Econs, all the other subjects as well, so feel free to head over if you're interested. If not, that's all. I'll see you guys in the next one, hopefully another subject maybe, right? And if not, you guys please have a good one. Bye bye.